Hi everyone, and welcome to this week's edition of the Snakebite. I'm Carl Van Gelder here with 𝙏𝙃𝙀, and we have a lot to cover this week from men's soccer, men's cross country, and volleyball. Everyone is putting in work this past week, but let's roll that intro. And we talked about men's cross country, but let's not leave out the ladies who are now second in the region. Women's cross country team continues to prove the regional rankers right with an extremely strong performance at the Southern Showcase, where the Mocs finished 17 out of 49 teams, but second overall among Division II competitors, only falling to number 7 nationally and number 1 in the region, Lee University. Leading the way for the Mocs was, you guessed it, first-time SSC Runner of the Week, Emma Musante, who ran a time of 18:25, but after that we saw a shakeup to the top 5. In second place was Emma Pfeiffer, who finished 4th overall at the preseason opener, carrying her momentum from her breakout track season last year, running 18:42, a nearly 42nd cross-country PR. Following her was grad student Cheyenne Young in 3rd, running 18:52, moving up in team finishing order from the opener, where she finished 5th on the team. And looking to break out on the cross-country course after her 4th overall team finish was junior Rachel the Hawk Hockenberry, after finding success this past track season, running 5:02 in the 1500 and 18:47 in the 5K. Ellie Fluman rounded out the scores for the Mocs, running a time of 19:08. And Jacob, Rachel carried over that 1500 speed onto the cross-country course, and as one of her teammates, I couldn't be happier for her. It's been a long road back, but man, did it pay off for her. And the Mocs will return to racing again sooner than later. Not this week, but next week they will be heading up to Tallahassee. Shout out Lily in the back, where they'll be taking on tough Division I competition along with some regional opponents as well on September 27th.
The number 27 nationally ranked men's cross-country team has risen to 2nd in the regional rankings thanks to an incredible performance by junior and 2nd fastest cross-country runner in school history, Christian Giller. Giller ran a time of 24:29 to finish as the first Division II runner in the competition and 20th overall finisher, more than earning his 2nd SSC Runner of the Week honor in a row. Following Giller was Christopher Colavita, who finally made it under the 25 minutes barrier in the 8K, becoming the 9th Moc ever to do so, despite battling an illness, running 24:59. Following Colavita, 3 more Mocs found their way below the 26-minute barrier in Elijah De La Cerda, Caleb Brady, and Cole Summers. The Mocs placed 11th out of 47 and 3rd overall out of Division II teams, falling to the reigning South Region champs, number 11 Lee University and number 21 Anderson. The men, like the women, will be making the trip up to Tallahassee on September 27th to face off against some in-conference and intra-regional opponents, along with some strong D1 programs as well.
And another team that's been rolling this year is the men's soccer team, who remain undefeated on the back of stellar sophomore and SSC Offensive Player of the Week, Darcy Moffat, whose goal-scoring streak is still going, following an undefeated 2-0-2 start to the season for the men's soccer team. Moffat has accounted for 6 out of the 7 goals for Florida Southern over the first 4 games of the season, with 2 goals in the first game against the University of Alabama-Huntsville and in the 3rd and 1st of this weekend at Christian Brothers University in a 2-1 win. In the 2-1 win, it took some time for it to heat up, but man, did it get spicy. Both teams found some chances in the first half, with none leading to anything on the scoreboard, and it stayed the same all the way until the 76th minute, when Darcy Moffat showed off his goal-scoring capabilities, notching his first goal off an assist from Sander Trevor. Moffat later converted on a PK just 2 minutes later. Christian Brothers soon responded in the 84th minute, but it proved too little too late as the Mocs came out on top 2-1. The Mocs looked to continue their undefeated streak as they went into the 2nd game of their road trip against Delta State University, where Moffat stayed hot, scoring within the first 5 minutes of the game. And after that, both teams struggled to get quality looks on goal, with Delta State finding the equalizer late in the 70th minute, leveling the game 1-1, where it ultimately ended. with a 2-0-2 start. This is the best start to the season since 2018, when the Mocs started off 9-0 with wins against two ranked SSC opponents in number 14 Lynn and number 15 Rollins. And I was able to sit down with Moffat and talk about both his and the team's performances and historic start to the year. So let's hear from him. Hi, I'm here with Darcy Moffat, reigning SSC Offensive Player of the Year. It's been a huge start to your career as a Moc so far, 6 out of the 7 team's goals. What has gone into that?
Yeah, I think it's just obviously it's been a good start for obviously the team and then myself. So I think it's kind of just pushing on into conference and then kind of keeping the streak going, really.
And you talked about pushing in a conference, and you have coming up a matchup against number 2 Lynn University. Yeah. You guys definitely have your work cut out for you. What's the message to the team right now going against such a strong opponent?
Yeah, I think it's just obviously making a statement. I know Lynn are second in the country at the minute, so it's just kind of proving a point to the rest of the conference, saying, yeah, you know, we're going to win. We're going to obviously push as much as we can. So obviously beating them is obviously a big point for us.
And you talked about pushing, and the formation change this year has let you guys push in the envelope a little bit, you could say. You guys have a unique scheme to your guys' game, using the wingers and using the players out wide to really play an aggressive offensive game when you have the opportunities, but also drop back and provide that extra defensive help. How do you think that helps you guys really attack other teams differently than some other teams in the conference or even in all of D2?
Yeah, I think you know, this formation especially is quite good. You know, offensively we have the wing backs pushing up. Obviously the 2 strikers help as well, and I think obviously off the pitch as well, doing analysis on other teams, how we can break them down, what's their weakness, that sort of stuff definitely helps. So obviously that's good.
And you talked about the strikers having a lot of opportunities. I mentioned your 6 goals already for the team, and you've just been able to find yourself in the right place at the right time a lot this year. What do you attribute to that?
Yeah, I think it's just, all my goals have basically just been me finding myself in the right place at the right time around the box. And I think that's just kind of what a striker needs, really. It's just kind of being in the right place at the right time, you know, getting your shots on goal, scoring, really, and just kind of keeping the streak going, really.
And you mentioned the streak. You've scored in every game so far this year. What are your expectations for yourself this year? And then after that, what are your expectations for the team as a whole?
Yeah, I think for myself, it's just kind of keeping the streak going as much as I can, you know, pushing into conference, trying to be top scoring conference, and then obviously pushing on to even further like regionals, nationals, that sort of stuff. And then I think for the team, it's just obviously, like I said, proving a point, trying to get as far as we can, you know, maybe top 2 in the conference, and then obviously hosting a playoff game would be brilliant.
And you talked about that long-term success for the year this year, and you're still adjusting to D2 a little bit, coming from Division I in Longwood. What has that adjustment been like in the play style and the overall feel of the game?
Yeah, I'd say there's not much to adjust, really. I think, you know, there's not a lot of differences between Division I and Division II. You know, coming here, I kind of had a bit more, like I knew what to expect, really. Obviously, going into my first year, I didn't really have quite a lot to, you know, I didn't know what to expect, really. But you know, coming over here it wasn't really a culture shock, so I didn't mind it.
And then you talk about not having a culture shock, but Florida Southern's definitely a little bit different than being out in California. What's your favorite thing since becoming a Moc, whether that's the CAF or maybe something a little bit different?
Yeah, I'd just say it's the community that obviously they build around the student athletes. You know, they care for them. You know, they do all the stuff off the pitch, and you can see how it relates to on the pitch with the success, really. So it's been really good.
Awesome. Well, thank you for coming in. We really appreciate your time, and make sure to tune in on the Sunshine State Conference Digital Network. I'll be calling that game with my friend Tian Ho, and we'll have a great time watching the Mocs. Hopefully take care of business against number 2 Lynn Fighting Knights. Be there or be square. Thank you, Darcy.
Thank you.
Women's soccer returned to Barron Field this past weekend for their first home games of the season in out-of-conference play against 2 Northeast 10 teams. And against the visitors from up north, Ashley Schimberg put on a show starring up front for the Mocs this weekend and earning SSC Offensive Player of the Week honors. The first goals in her Mocs career came in a 3-0 win against Bentley University as she notched a brace with the first of the evening coming in the 19th minute after being assisted by Allison Jenkins. With the first half winding down, sophomore forward and last year's goal contributor Sierra Spurk nabbed her first goal of the season off of a failed save by the Bentley goalkeeper. To close out the first matchup, Schimberg drew a foul in the box and slotted home the penalty kick in the 78th minute to seal Friday's game and get the Mocs back on track. Sunday came around and the Mocs played a dominant possession game against Assumption University. It was the 2 goal scorers from Friday combining for the Mocs' only goal of the game as Spurk found herself on a breakaway before squaring it to a darting Schimberg across the 6-yard box in the first half. The Mocs kept Assumption to just 2 shots on target, but Assumption made it count as they scored the equalizing goal on a rare counterattack, leaving the ending scoreline as 1-1 as the Mocs could not find a second goal. It's a short turnaround for women's soccer as they travel back to Georgia to face off against Georgia College before heading on the road to face Lynn in their first SSC game of the year. The matchup against Georgia College occurred during our production time, so for results, make sure to check fscmocs.com.
And pretty much every team on campus is rolling right now, and women's volleyball continues to do so in the 2nd season under Ashley Crowder, going 2-1 at the net results invite. The Mocs opened the competition with an impressive 3-0 sweep against Clarion. Trailing 23-21, the Mocs rattled off 4 straight points to take the first set. In the second, despite being down 21-20, they rallied again, going on a 5 straight point streak to take the second set win. Florida Southern found the needed momentum, taking the lead early and closed the match with a 25-19 victory. 6 Moccasins finished with 3 or more kills, and senior Madison Fowler had a team high of 7 kills and 4 blocks. Senior Zoe Lowe also contributed big to the victory with a team high tying 5 blocks and 6 kills. In the second match of the doubleheader, FSC took an early 2-0 lead against Purdue Northwest, and the Mocs came up short in both the 3rd and 4th set, but were able to persevere in the nail-biting final set, scoring 6 of the final 7 points to take the 3-2 win. Mackenzie Peterman led the way with 12 kills, 18 digs, and 4 service aces for her second of many double-doubles to come this season. Senior Kirsten Krause also made her mark and nearly pulled off a quadruple double with 9 kills, 15 assists, 9 blocks, and 8 digs. I'm out of breath just saying that. I don't know how she did it, but unfortunately for the Mocs, they struggled in the final match of the invite, getting swept by receiving votes Hillsdale College. The first 2 sets were close as they were determined by less than 4 points, but ultimately the Chargers took an early lead in the 3rd set that ultimately won them the match. Your Mocs moved to 4-2 as they head to Valdosta, Georgia to kick off their road trip for some more victories against West Florida and South Region foe Valdosta State this weekend.
The Florida Southern College water ski team opened their season with a victory at the annual showdown at Jack Travers Water Ski School in Groveland, defeating Rollins College with a combined score of 1265 to 855. The women's team dominated, winning all categories and securing a 535 to 185 dub, and they claimed victories in the slalom, trick, and jump. Olivia Shute led with a slalom score of 93.5, while Aaliyah Jung Hanifa took first in both trick and in the jump. In the men's A competition, despite Rollins narrowly winning in slalom and trick, the Mocs secured the overall win thanks to a dominant performance in jump, outscoring the Tars 280 to 160. In the B group, the Florida Southern showed up yet again, winning 200 to 120 overall, including victories in slalom and jump yet again. Rollins claimed the 2 top spots in the men's slalom and trick events, but Chase Sparks from FSC took first place in jump with a 167-foot leap. In the B group, FSC swept the top positions in all events, with Ty Meeker and Trey Snell delivering standout performances. And the Mocs' next event is the SAC Regional from September 27th through the 29th at Whitestone Lakes in Talking Rock, Georgia.
And Mocs ice hockey is back, people. I know everyone's excited. The Mocs bolstered an impressive 19-7 record last season on their way to the playoffs, and the Mocs hockey team record saw them seeded number 2 overall in the College Hockey South Division III playoffs. The Mocs dominated in their playoff run, making it to the championship game before a crushing 4-0 loss against the number 1 seeded Miami Hurricanes. The Mocs look to return to the playoffs in their first season in College Hockey South Division II, led by coaches Giles Richards and Dr. Nugent. The season for the Mocs kicks off with back-to-back games against Embry-Riddle. Come and support your Mocs team led by captains Gavin Tryon and Michael Wohl on September 21st for their home opener. And we have a few stats for you. I wrote these down before the show just to talk about the significance of the starts for not only the men's soccer team, but also the men's cross-country team. Jacob talked about the men's cross-country team earlier, and Christopher Colavita being the 9th runner in Florida Southern men's cross-country history to break that 25-minute mark in the 8K, and he made it a class record. My class, hopefully I can join him soon, where there's 3 mocks in this current junior class for Florida Southern, the graduating class of 2026, who have now broken that 25-minute barrier. That's the most of a class in school history. The next closest are the 2021 and 2023 classes for Florida Southern, 2023 being the first class fully recruited by head coach Matt Levasseur, with 2 as well as 2 in the 2021 class, including the all-time school record holder in the 8K distance, Mason Jones, an Olympic trials qualifier in the marathon. And then let's go back to men's soccer. Men's soccer have had a crazy start to the season. We talked about it earlier, and they are now they were undefeated against ranked opponents last year. And all of those opponents were ranked top 10 in the conference. All of them were also in conference foes, and that's no easy feat.
Absolutely not.
And coming up for them is that number 2 matchup against Lynn University. Their last win over a top 5 nationally ranked team was in 2011 in a 3-1 win over Rollins, who was that eventual runner-up. And through digging with that, we couldn't find it on the FC Mocs website initially, but we had to dig through some of the archives there, and we found the last time that they beat a top 3 team nationally was a few years prior, when they actually beat the number 1 and number 3 team nationally. So men's soccer team, they have some pretty good chances to continue to make history this year. Let's see if they can do it, and we'll make sure to let you know on the next episode of the Snakebite. See you then.